Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. To start things off, I'm sure everyone is just going to love this. The United States Internal Revenue Service, or the IRS, is allegedly considering requiring tech giants to report on crypto activity by users. According to a presentation reportedly from an IRS presentation, and provided by a Twitter user on the 9th of July. According to the documents shared, the IRS hopes to use grand jury subpoenas on firms such as Apple, Google, and Microsoft to check taxpayers' download history for crypto-related applications. Known as the crypto tax girl, Laura Walter, certified public accountant and crypto tax specialist, she tweeted the presentation, which was allegedly for agents in the IRS's Criminal Investigation Division. Citing the document, Walter concluded that the tax authority is conducting exhaustive research into detection of criminal tax evasion cases using crypto. As such, the IRS is considering carrying out interviews, open source, and social media searches, as well as electronic surveillance. The expert notice. Startingly, the 181-page document reads, and I do quote, "Grand jury subpoena should be considered for Apple, Google, and Microsoft for the subject's complete application download history." My goodness. Each application's function should be explored to determine whether or not the application can transmit, or otherwise allow transactions in Bitcoin, end quote. As Walter emphasized, the presentation envisions that IRS agents ensure that taxpayers are not notified about the obtained information regarding their use of cryptocurrencies to prevent detrimental to the investigation. So pretty much they don't want you to know that they have your information so that nothing detrimental could happen to their evidence that they have against you. Cointelegraph notes that the IRS has not confirmed the authenticity of the presentation's origin. According to the documents provided, the IRS is hoping to serve subpoenas to check data from accounts in banks and PayPal for connection with crypto transactions. Oh my goodness. So yeah, like I said, I was certain that everyone would love this information. I really don't have words. I had assumed that stuff like this had been going on, but it finally fell from the tree, and we were lucky enough to finally get this information ourselves. It's a little I find it interesting because we are once again witnessing a situation where the main premise of why cryptocurrencies were created, we have things and outside forces trying to go against it. But the main fascinating aspect of it all is that as cryptocurrencies continue to grow, have more support, as the networks become more robust, and as we end up having new implementations of things on second layers and side chains, a lot of these things will be fruitless. Is that the word? If I can kind of say that. We know that there are many implementations that are going to be placed on top of Bitcoin, to the side of Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ether. You've seen the proposals out there. I'm not going to explicitly say what they are, but if you've been in the cryptocurrency space for at least a year, you should have a clear understanding where this is all going. The point to be made is, it's kind of interesting, in my own view, that these things are happening. I can only imagine what's been happening in other countries. There are what's the name of the company? I think it's called Chainalysis. Google it right now. They're very well known. They are made or were created to be able to track your transactions. They're a company, I don't know who made them, but they work very closely with many governments around the world, because this is why, once again, I know everyone's tired of hearing the word Facebook. I'm tired of saying the word Facebook. The idea is that as we move closer to a more digitized world, if more people around the world continue to adopt Bitcoin, if the Facebook coin isn't going to be as centralized as previously thought, or not all transactions will be recorded to Facebook and therefore will be able to be passed on to other government agencies, we're going to live in a world where governments don't receive the information that they once before received in the past. And this is very troubling to them, because they are used to having not even a level of control. They're used to having all the control. And this is where cryptocurrencies become quite fascinating, because it does not allow the same level of control that we have before. Please refer to any discussion by Andreas Antonopoulos. He says this quite often to let people understand exactly where the cryptocurrency space is going. But the fact that they're trying to subpoena Apple, Google, and Microsoft to get your download history to see if you've touched any app that had to do with Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, and then trying to gain access into that app to see what you were doing is, I can only use the word insane. I don't think there's any other word that is good for me to use on YouTube. However, like I said, I expected things like this to happen. It is widely expected. There are a number of coins by the end of this year or next year who will be somewhat immune to things like this. I've mentioned them before in other videos, but yeah, let's move on. It's insane, right? Like when you think of the actual prospect of how people are still trying to regain control or have control, especially over something that they didn't create. That's one of the main things that a lot of the other cryptocurrency minds out there were kind of saying. It was more like the US government and any other government created their own money, created their own so-and-so. They retained control over something. But imagine creating something and another entity says, we didn't create this, but we still have control over it. It's very, very fascinating. Let's move on. In the most unsurprising news ever, Russia's parliament, the State Duma, may defer the adoption of the country's major crypto bill on digital financial assets, or the DFA, until autumn. Local news outlet TASS reported on the 9th of July. The Duma is considering shifting the adoption of the DFA bill to the autumn season, while the representatives have largely agreed on the bill of crowdfunding, according to the chairman of the State Duma Committee on Financial Markets. Aksakov, this guy, further explained that the officials have not been able to reach a common position on the fate of digital currencies in Russia, saying, the law on the DFA is set to decide whether we will prohibit cryptocurrencies as a medium of exchange in Russia, meaning that there will be no exchange points nor exchanges that work with cryptocurrencies. We have not yet reached consensus on the issue. We need to define what cryptocurrency is at a legislative level. Then there is a fork in the road. We either prohibit organizing infrastructure for the purchase and sale of cryptocurrencies in Russia, or allow it. That seems pretty logical. The point is, once again, Russia and India, I think they're playing tug of war to see who can be the most ridiculous. In Russia, we were supposed to have gotten cryptocurrency, rather, I'm not in Russia, but the people of Russia should have received clarification for exactly what was going to happen with cryptocurrencies in 2018. I want to say it was summer 2018, and then it was autumn 2018, and then it was winter 2018. And then we got to the point where they said, okay, beginning of 2019, let's do it. Never ended up happening. It even says it right here. Initially, the country's parliament planned to adopt the law at the end of June. We're definitely in July now. And then at some point they said within the next couple of weeks in July, that's around this time frame, that we would have this law, or some type of law would be introduced. The main issue that the government leaders seem to be having is that half of them want people to be able to have crypto and the other half don't. Half of them want there to be cryptocurrency exchanges that are super looked after and the government knows exactly what's happening. The other half don't want normal people to be able to touch cryptocurrencies at all. So it's kind of a, do we allow the peasants to have some breadcrumbs, or do we simply not allow them to have anything? Because this is kind of what it came down to. That other part of the law, I'm pretty sure it's still written somewhere inside of this as well, that the normal everyday people would not be able to touch crypto. But if you were accredited, or if you were institutional, or if you were rich, you would have free access to cryptocurrencies as you so choose, but normal everyday people would not. And I assume this is what kind of the main argument comes down to, because logically, if normal people do have access to cryptocurrencies, in my opinion, it would probably strengthen the economy. If you tell, because even the prospect of normal people being able to touch crypto within Russia was, I think, limited to $5,000 per year. You know, 1 million people, $5,000 each. You know, the market can kind of move around. Maybe it might help to strengthen Russia's economy. I am assuming that they're going to go for a more restrictive policy. This is probably why the thing has been not pushed through for quite some time. Anyway, like I said, this is like the 15th time they've done this, so any postponement is not surprising at all. If I'm not mistaken, the Indian government was supposed to have given information about 5 times this year. I'm pretty sure the end of June was also a time frame. It's weird. It's very odd. I don't know what they're waiting for. Or rather, I know what they're waiting for. They need to just kind of get to it. Yeah. Next up, Binance has just cut the time needed to make withdrawals and deposits in 2 top cryptocurrencies. The exchange announced on Tuesday that it's adjusted its system so that the number of block confirmations, pretty much how long a transaction is confirmed or considered confirmed as complete and can be executed, has been halved for Bitcoin deposits to 1 block confirmation, and withdrawals will take 2 confirmations. And for Ether and related ERC20 tokens, Binance said 12 block confirmations are now required for deposits and withdrawals. That's down from the 30 that were required before. To be clear, the respective blockchains will confirm blocks as normal and are not controlled by Binance. For the faster service, the exchange is accepting a reduced number of confirmations as sufficient to alter wallet balances within its own systems. I definitely remember having to wait for 30 confirmations. Takes about a good 5-6 minutes sometimes. It's a bit of a wait, especially with many other cryptocurrencies when you try to deposit them. Takes about a good 8 seconds. That is not me hyping them up. It goes very, very fast. So interesting to see that they've done this. I forgot the exact methodology or like what the actual idea behind it is. I think when the networks have become more robust, you don't need or require as many confirmations to see that they've actually been written onto the blockchain as it is already written. So kind of cool that they've done this. Maybe not the most exciting news. Wow, yay, quicker confirmation times, but it is definitely appreciated, especially I'm sure for a lot of people who are using Binance and don't like the waiting time that is out there. Next up, Tone Vase says the Bitcoin breakout he's been looking for has finally arrived. The veteran trader, who has called himself the last bear left, says he's changing his tune after witnessing Bitcoin climb back above back above $12,000. Vase says, there we go, the next level of resistance to watch is the spot where Bitcoin hit near $14,000. He said, we have broken the last prior 3 swings. That's a really good sign. There's only one left. That's only one hurdle to go, and that's the top at $13,880.94. The last part was a joke. And the 4-hour chart closed pretty much in that area. Meanwhile, analyst Josh Rager is outlining the same resistance level and says he believes at this point there's not much in the way of Bitcoin attaining that new yearly high. A lot of people think, they think that once we passed or have passed, there we go, by the $14,000, $15,000, $16,000 level, that there will be some type of a major apocalyptic greed factor that will happen and that Bitcoin will shoot back up. A lot of people think that we are easily positioning ourselves for passing by $20,000 this year. Depending on where you look, we are getting a $25,000. I've seen some $45,000 Bitcoin predictions by the end of this year. Who knows? No one knows the exact number, but I mentioned before that a lot of the negative sentiments in the cryptocurrency market or Bitcoin price movement markets, doesn't make any sense, have all but dissipated. And apparently Tone Vase was the last bear left. Whenever I mentioned before in other videos about price movements, things that were happening about what other analysts were saying about the cryptocurrency market, I was flooded, I say, with news about what Tone Vase had said and how Tone Vase thought the market was going to go here and what Tone Vase was saying about how the market was going to go down and how Tone Vase thought that Bitcoin was falling down to 3,000 and how Tone Vase has said Bitcoin was definitely going to retest 5,600. Glad those comments have stopped. I got tired of hearing what Tone Vase had to say, especially after Tone Vase was incorrect about 8 times in a row as far as Bitcoin going down. Let's move on. Next up, electronics giant Samsung is releasing a beta version of a new software development kit designed to help build Ethereum-based decentralized application on its latest line of Galaxy smartphones. They said the SDK helps developers to maintain or manage blockchain accounts easily. In addition, a dApp does not need to make separate types of transactions that follow coin types by themselves anymore. The SDK offers a payment gateway for cryptocurrency remittances within the UI. To use the payment solution, a dApp needs a key store. With this, Samsung blockchain SDK links users not only to the Samsung key store, but also to any external cold wallets as well. That's wonderful. Keeping in mind, once again, we're seeing that uptick in the amount of support for Ethereum from major companies. I think it's having some effect on the price, even though Ethereum is currently in the red right now. But I want everyone to make sure to understand exactly where this is going. How many, I'll put it to you this way. You don't see Samsung and many other organizations or institutions or companies announcing that they're going to be launching software development kits for other cryptocurrencies except for Ethereum. At least at the time, no one knows what the future holds. They may be doing this eventually in the background as well for other cryptocurrencies. But note that 2018 was a very negative year for Ethereum, and this year Ethereum is gaining a lot of support, and people are releasing a lot as far as the infrastructure for the future of Ethereum. Keep this in the back or even the front of your mind. Next up, the Vienna-based cryptocurrency exchange known as BitPanda has revealed it will support XRP at the launch of its global exchange next month. The third largest cryptocurrency by market cap will be paired with the euro. They said we can confirm that XRP EUR will be a trading pair available at the launch of BitPanda's global exchange on the 7th of August. Money sign XRP, money sign euro. They didn't even have a hashtag. So, yeah, kind of cool. I like when new coins, or rather, XRP is not new. I like when coins are listed on new exchanges. When there are new pairs, I can assume that as they are announcing this, they probably already had support for Bitcoin and Ether on their platform, and now XRP support is going to be launched alongside the euro support as well. Kind of cool. To kind of finish things off, the global head of marketing at IBM Blockchain Worldwire has confirmed that the tech giant is still moving full steam ahead with its Stellar-based remittance platform. According to Molly Martin, IBM is now focused on attaining legal compliance in countries around the world. She said, well, rather, Dave said, thanks, Molly, wishing you guys the best. She said, thanks, Dave. We really appreciate your support. You'll see more news from us soon. Right now, we are heads down working on the tech and making sure we're legally compliant. It can be a slow process, but changing the world takes time. Keep in touch. Okay, nice for Dave. Anyway, the point to be made is that a couple of weeks ago, we did have news. I don't remember if I even put this in the video. A lot of people don't like any type of FUD. Hate the word. People don't like any type of negative news on cryptocurrency sometimes. So the negative news was that I think one of the main heads of the IBM Blockchain Worldwire had left the platform. I think another person with IBM who was working with Stellar very close had also left, and I think they either moved to the Ripple team or they moved to they two main figures who we had heard from before in the IBM Stellar Blockchain Worldwire space had moved out of the project, moved away, and a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, is it dead? What's happening? So I thought not, maybe don't mention that in the video, just kind of, scare people, whatever the actual case might be. But apparently we now have a confirmation that it is still moving forward. I'm sure this excites a lot of people out there who are either holding Lumens or are not a big fan of XRP and were looking for something to make themselves feel better, just being honest. And also for the entire IBM Blockchain Worldwire thing, we heard a lot of news about this in 2018. It's been relatively lull throughout the year, half of the year that has already passed by. I'm waiting to see exactly what it'll probably take some time for the full implementation of this to kind of get going. But the people from IBM, for those who don't know, announced that they're going to be using the Stellar blockchain to either make stablecoins on top of or to send transactions through. There was no explicit confirmation of the use of the Stellar token. However, as I've been screamed at least 38,100 times, it appears that usage of the Stellar blockchain requires usage of the Stellar token to pay for transactions, and therefore any transactions happening on the Stellar blockchain, as IBM is going to be using, will require the usage of the Stellar token, and therefore this will be the use of the Stellar token, and therefore the price of the Stellar token may potentially go up in the future. So saith my comment section, and so saith crypto Twitter. But yes, still happening, and yeah. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. They are Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Master Ventures in Thailand, Janae Francis, Triple M and J, My Keto Kitchen, Adobo, Crypto and Beer Shipmate, Brady Niels, L. Doug, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, Crypto Joe, Mohair Maroney, Carl Birchenoff, singer-songwriter Mike Savitz, Rai Rai, Yasha Harari, Amy Starchin, Jeffrey Ramsey, Clara T. Snowden, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Nicholas One of Them, Peace One Love, Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Rich III, RF Dusty, Cody, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Tom, Sucks the Basketball, and Sam Skips Leg Day, Jeremy the Photographer, Jim Gardner, Minty Coins, Arthur Yako, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, and Mick Hannick. Thank you all very, very much for your support. At the moment, Bitcoin's in the green, top 10's in red. Where the market will go, no one knows. I thought that was going to rhyme in my head. It did not rhyme at all. Anyway, you knew where I was going with that. We'll wait to see by the end of the day exactly what's going on. A lot of the coins do look like they're trying to push themselves back up. No one knows. Bitcoin is still in charge relatively, at least right now. Once again, it appears people are thinking that by the end of today, we could see a $13,000 Bitcoin. Mr. Bays has said, and many other people, that we are looking for a breach near $14,000 to be able to push us even higher. I would like to see, all right, this is very wishful thinking. Yeah, we have a good 12 days. 12 days, my goodness. Remember when we had 4 or 5 months? It seems about 12 days, according to the New York Stock Exchange, that they're going to be launching the beginning of their, I believe, physical Bitcoin futures. Thing we've all been waiting for from Bakkt. It would be nice to see us breach 14,627.19, random number, within the next week. That'd be kind of nice to see as we get closer towards Bakkt. I'm expecting, it may not happen, but I'm expecting a little move upward in the price of Bitcoin as we finally get the confirmation that Bakkt is going to be launching 1,000%, and that it is launching, when we get those news things like, hey, we're launching in 16 hours. I'm expecting it to be a bit of a fear of missing out thing going on. I hope that you all enjoyed. I hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. Thank you all once again for watching and listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See